best known church show, where we show you how to 10x your reach with church marketing that will help you increase your impact, make more disciples, and become the cornerstone of your community again. This is for the leaders with an outrageous vision, because anything less would be an inaccurate reflection of our Creator. The ones who have unreasonable faith, because you know God works unreasonable miracles. And the ones who are relentless in the pursuit of your calling, because anything less would not make a good and faithful servant. If that's you, you're in the right place. Now, please welcome your host and guide on this journey to become the best known organization in your community, Justin Nava.
All right, welcome to the Best Known Church Show, back from a 2-week hiatus due to illness, and then we just had a lot of projects going on. I just could not make the stream, so I appreciate you guys for sticking around and for watching this. I actually logged into Spotify to check on something on the back end, and I was amazed at how many people were actually watching, but how many people were watching or listening, I should say. I knew we had a smaller audience, but I thought it was smaller than it was. So I thank you, each and every one of you that are listening to this, watching this. If you're seeing this on YouTube, do me a favor and like and subscribe so you catch all of our videos. We're cranking them out again through the end of the year. We've got a lot of fun things coming up for Nava Church Marketing and for your church through our business and ministry. So I'm very excited for this. Before we go on, if we haven't met before, my name is Justin Nava, founder of Nava Church Marketing, and I want to make churches known. I want to help churches be known in their community. And if you're watching this show or listening to this show, I want to help you be the best known. Churches used to be the cornerstone of the community. You know, we rose up. We were the ones educating the community, and we've offset that to the government. We were the ones lifting people when they were having hard times, and now it's been offset to the government. And there are a lot of churches that are available to serve even their own flock, and they don't even know. And so I'm going to help you make your church known in your community. And the way we do that in 2024, the same way that Billy Graham did it with the radio and then TV, we're going to do it with marketing. We're going to help you be known. Billy Graham looked at the radio and said, this is something that's got people's attention. Let's use it to preach the gospel. I want you to do the same thing as you look at Google, social media, and drive people to your website. This is where people's attention are. Let's use it to make Jesus known. And you are a local church. If you're watching this, you should be, or a local ministry at least. You are not some discipleship social media page. You're not some, let's just put out some good verses. You have a local body of believers. God is calling people to engage with you, to experience him and allow him to transform their lives through your church. And so that's what I want. I want more people to connect with your church. I don't want to get you more followers. I don't want you to be a public preacher or an evangelist. That's great. Those are good things. That's not our business. That's not how we serve here. I want to help your church be known to the people that you are equipped to serve, not worldwide, nationwide. That's something else. The people in your backyard, your neighbors, that's who I want to help you serve. So if you have your church website and it's not really being used, it may not be the fact that the design is bad. It may not be the fact that the copy is bad. It may be that you just haven't structured it to be easy to use, to get people to click and see more and learn more and basically go on a journey of discovery of who your church is and how you can support, serve, and help people. I think a lot of churches want to let their website visitors know that, hey, we can help you, we can support you, we can teach you, train you, equip you, nourish you. God is going to serve you through our church. But that message doesn't communicate through the website. And if it does, there's a lot of obstacles that you may unknowingly place in front of your website visitor that makes it difficult for them, or at least makes it easy for them to bounce out. Difficult for them to proceed, easy to bounce out means they're going to take the easy path. So today I'm going to share with you a few tips on how to make your website easier to use and also make it easier for your guests to journey through your website and experience your church even online before they make a visit. Because 9 out of 10 people before they come to your church are going to check out your website online. And if you put obstacles in front of them online, You're essentially putting an obstacle. No one's going to look at, I mean, very few people are going to look at your website and be like, I don't like that. I don't see this information. I'm going to go anyways. I'm just going to show up at 8:30 and see what happens. Like, very few people are actually going to say that. Everyone's going to go online first. Everyone's going to want to see some information. You can watch our video training on that. What I'm talking about here is how you're going to guide people through the journey of discovering your church. I want you to have a higher click rate. I want you to have more people clicking through your website. I want to have more people planning a visit. And of course, I want to have more people showing up to your church so they can hear the gospel and be discipled by your congregation. So what a lot of church websites that I see, I'm auditing church websites. I do quick audits for free. I do full in-depth audits that are more consultations. You can, I don't have the page up yet, but we'll have that on our website. Right now it's just word of mouth that, if you get referred over to me, we'll discuss what that looks like. But we do in-depth audits. And one of the things that always comes out in the quick audits, and then one of the ways that we strategize and how to fix this in the in-depth audits, is how many church websites just throw information out at someone hoping they select something. We end up saying, hey, I know you're here for one thing, but here's a dozen things just in case you might want it. And this can work for large churches where you have a large amount of traffic who know that you're the provider of something as a certain sermon, a certain ministry, a certain mission, certain kids program, VBS, whatever. Those work for large churches that are already known because people will go there and just find what they want. It's kind of like saying I want a new razor. And so I'm going to go to Walmart. I'm going to click through all the garbage that Walmart's throwing at me to find the razor because I know Walmart has that razor. But if I go to the Old Town Spring, let's say, which is like a little shopping area, it's more than that, but let's call it a shopping area. And I'm trying to see what boutique shops, is there a barber there, or is there a special craftsman there or something like that? I'm going to click through and, I don't know if they have this razor, or I don't know if they can help me. And if I just get a barrage of everything that I could possibly use or whatever, and it's like, I just need a razor, I'm going to back out because I don't know them as well. And they're also, I don't know how well they're equipped to help me or not. So, if I go to a barber shop and they say, hey, we got haircuts and beard trims and all this other stuff. And then we've got these creams and gels and all this stuff. And okay, that's great. I just need a razor. But if I go to a barber shop and it's just focused on, hey, we're going to help you look good and here's how we do it. And it guides me through, hey, we got a haircut. I'm not really ready for that. But we also have different tools that you can use to keep yourself clean at home. I click on that and I'll go through and then I can experience everything they have, being reminded along the way that they're not here to sell me something. They're here to make me look and feel good. And in the same way, your church doesn't exist just to have people show up at 11. Your church exists to spread the gospel and make disciples and help people live a fulfilled life that Jesus Christ has for them. You exist essentially on the most surface level to answer that nagging feeling that the Spirit has on people saying, hey, you need to come investigate this. You need to come check this out. You need to come work out your faith. You need to do something, right? It's almost like, you're knocking on doors looking for people of peace, right? Well, guess what? Those people are looking for you. So you got to be found, but you got to make it easy. You can't put obstacles. You can't put a gate. You can't, if you're going to say, hey, anyone who is welcome here, but you got gates up in the front yard and you live in a gated neighborhood, it's not easy to come. All right. So you want to remove those obstacles. That's what we're going to be talking about today. So I don't want you to just throw everything out there and hope someone picks it. And yeah, it can work for the mega church down the street because they know I'm looking for that program. I'm looking for that help. I'm looking for that sermon. I'm looking for that preacher. Right. But if you're a smaller church, which is what this show is geared towards, then that's not going to work for you. And honestly, as a smaller church or even a medium-sized church, you're best equipped to welcome people and bring them in and onboard them, assimilate them, whatever you want to call it. You're best equipped to do that in one of a few ways. And so don't throw everything out and hope someone picks something, especially when you throw like an events and ministries and they click on kids ministries and just says, oh, Sundays at 11, love to see you here. That's not helpful. That's not useful. So we want to have a website that creates the best first impression, but also is easy for people to navigate through, learn about your church, and we want to subtly guide them to make the next best step they should make, which is usually for many churches, plan a visit, join a group, worship online, live or on demand, whatever it is. We want people to take that next step. So I'm going to share with you today how to guide people through that next step. And it's going to take a little bit of planning, but we're going to get through this together. I'm very excited. So if you haven't already, like and subscribe, follow whatever you want to do on this podcast so you catch it on the next one. Let's get into it. The first thing I want to encourage you on is to treat your website visitors like you would an in-person guest. You want your greeters, when someone walks in the door in person, you want them to greet the person, and then you want them to guide the guest to where they need to go. Do they have kids? You need to guide them to the nursery. Do they need to use the restroom? You need to guide them to the bathroom. They would tell you that. You wouldn't ask them that. Do they have a grandma in a wheelchair? Guide them to the wheelchair accessible entrance, or guide them to the senior Bible study if it's Bible study or Sunday school time. Right. Well, on your website, you can do the same thing. Instead of plastering everything you got going on your website, just put the one thing you want people to do and don't overcomplicate it. If you make it obvious that you want people to plan a visit and show up on Sunday, a funny thing happens. More people plan a visit and show up Sunday. But if you convolute it and say, well, you can show up Sunday, you can watch online, you can watch on demand, you can read Pastor's latest chapter, you can look at our events, you can look at our ministries, you can sign up for a newsletter, you can request prayer here, you can let us know you're coming. All that stuff, that's a lot of things to do. Maybe I'll do one of them. Instead of, hey, we want to meet you on Sunday. We want to meet you on Sunday. We want to meet you on Sunday. Here's what to expect on Sundays. Plan a visit on Sunday. Right? It seems counterintuitive, but the reason why people aren't planning a visit on your website is because you're making it too easy not to. You're not telling them to enough. Right? You don't just share the gospel with someone and say, see you later. No, you share the gospel and say, what do you think? Would you like to follow Jesus? Do you accept, or if you're old school, do you accept Jesus as your personal Lord and Savior? So we want to guide guests and starting with having one button or one call to action on the homepage. When someone lands on your homepage, just tell them to do one thing. Just tell them, hey, see what to expect on Sundays. See what to expect on Sundays. Love to have you on Sundays. You can have a secondary call to action, but it should not be as prominent as the primary one. Okay. We exist as a church not to have events, but to change lives and share the gospel. And if you're doing that on Sunday mornings, guess what? That's the number one thing you want people to do on your website. Make that the only thing they can do on their homepage. And by the way, we're talking about this in the church website cohort today. It's fresh on my mind. Your homepage essentially is a scrolling navigation menu. Social media has trained us to, when we open up our phone and we want to see more information, we scroll. Scroll. And so if someone lands on your homepage and like, okay, interesting, I'm hooked, they're going to scroll. And if the scroll ends before they have an overall first impression of your church, they're going to bounce out. Okay. Very rarely do people actually click on things anymore. So we want to help them scroll. So that's why if you download the Ultimate Church website homepage at novachurchwebsite.com, you'll notice it's a long homepage. For many churches, it could be the only page. They could just have a one-page website, and that would be fantastic. It may even work better than a multi-page, sparsely planned out website. novachurchwebsite.com. I think I just got a notification someone downloaded it. So have that scrolling. It's essentially it's like a tour throughout your church, right? You're going to share what God can do in them. You're going to share that you can understand their desires. You're going to tell them about the ministries you have. You're going to share with them some testimonies. That's like walking up to someone and be like, hey, have you met Joe? Joe's been here for 5 years and Joe, blah, blah, blah. Right. Then you can say, hey, by the way, if you're not ready to join us in service, you can grab a copy of Pastor's book here. Or you can watch online. Right. As people scroll through your homepage, they will see ultimately a first impression of your church. And then if they decide to click around, you want to be able to guide them to their ultimate destination. You want to bring them back to the next step you want them to take. And too often, this is where conversions are destroyed, is if you've got like plan your visit on your homepage, and that's great, but then someone clicks off to look at your ministries, look at your events, they don't have an easy path to get back to plan a visit, to get back to see what to expect on Sundays. And that's what I'm going to primarily share with you in a moment. And I'm going to try to do it on my iPad here. So say a quick prayer for my iPad that it works. Is guiding people back to that primary action you want them to take. I talk about this a lot. Your website should have a goal. It should have a primary goal. And that goal should be aligned to help you do your mission the best way you can, which for many churches is going to be show up on Sunday or join a group. All right. That's the primary thing I'm talking about. There is a secondary goal, which you can incorporate, but it's secondary. Let's talk about the primary first. Okay. A lot of churches are like, how do we get more people to do this, this, and this, and this? You're stretching yourself too thin. Just get people to Sundays. That's where you're best equipped to serve. That's where you're best equipped to initiate the discipleship process. That's where a lot of church discipleship journeys start. And there could be a pre-phase where it's like, hey, come to an event, come meet people. That's fine. One church I love in Maryland, like they're like, the first impression of your church should be at our community events. You do that, you're golden. Like you're going to show up to church because you're going to want to stick around these people. I think that's cool. So, so you want to have like a web page based around whatever that one thing you want people to do, which will usually be come on Sunday. So you can have a page that says what to expect, plan a visit. You'll hear me call it plan a visit because that's what everyone calls it. I hate that term. But if someone in our cohort was like, literally like, I hate that term too. But the moment I made that page, someone came to church like the day after or something like that. Someone came to church. So, I mean, I'm not going to knock it because it works. God's using it. So let's keep using it. You can have all those pages, but everything needs to lead back to plan a visit. Okay. So I'm going to pull up my iPad here and I'm going to share with you how we plan out in a very rough process that we have, but it works. And you're going to do something similar. My church website cohort did this 3 weeks ago. And we did a lot of things for that meeting, but I'm just going to focus on this thing here just to get you an idea of what that can look like. So I got my iPad plugged in. Let me share it. There we go. We got this. Good. All right. And I took 2 weeks off. I'm out of practice here. Here we go. All right. So I need my Clark Kent glasses to see my iPad. So your website is designed basically where everyone's going to land on the homepage. Okay. Most of your traffic is going to go to your homepage. That's just what it is. Right. And that's not a bad thing. All right. From there, you're going to ask them to go to the main step, which is usually your plan a visit page. Could be what to expect, could be Sundays, could be join us Sundays, whatever it is, that's going to be your primary action. For some, it's going to be groups, but for most people, it's going to be plan a visit. Now, you're also going to have your other pages on here, right? You might have a sermon page or a watch live page. You might have a ministry page. You might have a give page. You might have a groups page, which we won't include here because I ran out of room. Okay. So yeah, your website does all this. Okay. But ultimately you want people to go to your plan a visit page. That's the goal. Now, here's where a lot of church websites mess up. Because as soon as someone clicks, can I use my mouse? Ooh, look at this. As soon as someone clicks on home, plan a visit, and they're like, okay, that's interesting. Maybe they go watch a sermon. That's all they do. And so they watch a sermon and then they bounce out, or they find the home, they find your website. And then they're like, okay, well, let me check out their ministries. And then maybe they go through and they click on like the kids ministries. And then maybe there's like a groups. Maybe this is where groups can go. Okay. But then they leave. They click on kids, they see the kids, and then they leave. So how do you guide people to return to that plan of visit section? It's very simple, right? And this is a very simple website map. No matter how many pages you have, it's going to work. You make a button, you make a section, and you tell people plan a visit. So after they watch a sermon, maybe underneath the sermon player, hey, ready to join us on Sunday? Plan a visit. And you lead people from the sermon page to your plan a visit page. Maybe after they look at the kids page, says, hey, we'd love to see you and your little ones. Why don't you see what to expect on Sundays? Even after they give, maybe they pay for an event, or they pay for, they just make a donation because they're feeling bad. I don't know. Pastors know what I'm talking about when I say that. I've been out at coffee with pastors. Someone will be like, hey, you're the pastor of that church. Here's $100. And the question is, oh, I don't know what that guy did last night. But maybe afterwards, well, guess what? You have a thank you message. You can do a form redirect, and you can say, thank you for your gift. We'd love to meet you on Sunday and thank you in person. And you lead them back to plan a visit. It's an arrow. So just having some strategy of how every page can lead back. Now, maybe you're a church and like you want to do groups, right? So let me clear all this. Okay, maybe you want to do groups. So you have your Sundays page, but you also have your groups. So I think after watching a sermon, yeah, maybe you want to watch people to watch live so they can plan a visit. But maybe when they're on ministries, they click over to groups and they can sign up here. Maybe under kids, it's like, hey, while your kids in Sunday school, we have groups. And so you include a link to go look at groups. Everything should interact with each other. And if you want to get advanced, we've done this for a site. Let's say you have an about page. Okay, so then from about, you have leaders and you have mission and vision, right? We're running out of space here, but that's fine. All right. So what we do is on the about page, it's like, hey, meet our leaders. And then after they meet our leaders, we say, hey, we'd love to meet you in person. Go plan a visit. And then if they click on mission and vision, hey, we'd love for you to meet the people that make this possible. We take them to lead. So now they've gone from home. They've gone to the about page, which is often your second most visited page. Then they go to leaders, and then they go to plan a visit. So you see, even though they weren't ready to plan a visit, now that they've seen that they like our beliefs, now that they've met a few of our leaders, we're guiding them back to plan a visit. Now, maybe they go from leaders to like, they just jump over to sermons. Because they're like, okay, well, I've met Pastor so-and-so. You can't see where I'm pointing on my iPad. I've met Pastor so-and-so. I've checked out the beliefs. Let me go listen to a sermon. I'm going to make sure he's not crazy. I'm going to see what the worship's like. They listen to a sermon or they listen to a replay. Well, now you're nurturing them to go plan a visit. You see, you're no longer waiting for people when you use this strategy. You're no longer waiting for people to hopefully go where you want them to go. You're guiding people there just with simple nurturing. So, for example, let me share one more screen here. And let's use, do I want to use this one? Let's do sermons. Yeah, this one doesn't work because it's too long. Trying to find one of our sites that has an example I want to show. Can I pull one up real quick? Would you let me? Yeah, I don't think that's going to work. Okay, scratch that. So I was going to show you an example. I guess I'll use Stonewater. I was hoping to find someone else. So when you link, always end a page with links to something else. So for example, let me stop screen. Let me share screen and let me share this one. There we go. All right. Appreciate y'all bearing with me on that. So for example, this is a website I show often. I was trying not to have to show it again, but I'll show it again because it's one I like. As I come here, I can see our leaders, what we believe, our story. Let's say I go to the story. Like, let me see the history of this church. What's the deal with this church, right? And I can read about the history of the church. I love it. Great, fantastic, right? Ready to participate in God's story? Oh, let me plan a visit, right? Now, let's say I clicked on something else. Let's look at what we believe, right? Okay, I got the beliefs. I got more beliefs because they have two sections of beliefs. Oh, look, I can look at the story or I can join on Sunday, right? So you're always leaving people with something else to do, right? Everything should go to this page, even if I go to like next steps, right? What's the first thing I should do? Be our guest, plan a visit. Okay. So that's really a simple example But that's all it takes, is just knowing what the primary thing you want people to do. Build a page around it. You probably already do. And maybe it's a prayer request. I got someone in our church cohort that they're primary, like we just want to pray with people. We believe that's the entrance into our faith community is through prayer. So we're guiding everyone to that prayer page. We've got one church that gets like 2 or 3 prayer requests a week. So guide people. No, from every page should lead to another page. It's just like when you're watching Netflix and it says, hey, are you done watching? Here's another recommended episode. You watch the show on YouTube. You're going to get a screen that says, hey, watch this video next. In fact, on the back end on YouTube, we even have an option that says, hey, give the viewer the next best option that they have based on what you know about them. So if you ever watch my videos and you're like, oh, I should learn about that next, let me click on that. It's because YouTube figured that out. That's what you want to watch next, not me. So as long as you end every page with a next step, hey, go watch a sermon, go meet our leaders, go plan a visit, go register your kids, whatever that next step is, every page should lead to another page. You ever do that? You ever land on a website and you're just clicking through and you're like, man, I want to learn everything about this thing. And you click and you click and you're like, I think I read this before, but now you're reading it again. That's the kind of journey you can take people on your church website. So to recap, know what you want people to do on your website. Make that the main option, the one button throughout your homepage. Then throughout your website, on a majority, if not all the pages, include a call to action related to that page. If they're on the leaders page, hey, we'd love to meet you in person. Meet Pastor Scott in person. If they're on the kids page, register your kids on our plan a visit page. Even on the event page, after they register for an event, send them an email. Hey, we'd love to have you. Drive them to that page from off website. You're not, a lot of pastors will say, man, that's very bothersome. It's not. And even if it was, let's bother people to come to church. That's why we're relegated to the sideline, because we stopped doing it. We stopped saying, hey, this is the answer. Church community is here for you, to serve you, to support you. It's the out you need. We stopped saying that's the way to go. And we started saying, we're here if you need us. The reason the church is declining is because we're here if you need us. And we're letting people decide they don't need us, rather than saying Jesus wanted you. And if you want something else, if you want something better, greater, freer, you need Jesus. So I don't think it's bothersome, but if you do, let's bother people. Because guess what? They're going to be bothered by something else. They're going to be bothered by influencers, politicians, outrage, cancel mobs, whatever the news is. They're going to be bothered by that. So let's interrupt that and say, there's some actual goodness here. And we'd love to have you be a part of this faith community. Thank you guys for watching today. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. You can always email me. Actually, email the office, hello@navachurchmarketing.com. Go on your website and look at what you can do to point people to your Sunday page, your plan a visit page, whatever you call it. Go and just get all those. There's something called interlinking, which I specifically did not use today because that's specifically something else. Because then you get into anchor text and no follows, and that's not the purpose of this. We're focused on the user, not the SEO juice behind it. Okay. So make sure that every page naturally leads to something else that someone can say. There should never be a page that just ends. There should always be a next step, no matter what page you're on. Get people to follow that, create a breadcrumb trail to get people to eventually land on the action that you want them to take. Ideally, so you can get their information so you can follow up with them. That's what relationship is. So if you want to get more help, I've got my Ultimate Church website homepage. You can go to navachurchwebsite.com, get that link there, and then you'll kind of have an idea of what to have on your homepage to create the best first impression. Like and subscribe, follow this podcast wherever you are. I appreciate you guys. God bless you all, and I will see you all next week.
That's going to do it for today's episode of the Best Known Church Show with Justin Nava. Be sure to subscribe to stay updated on the latest news, strategies, and resources that you need to reach 10x more people and become the best known in your community. To send us a message or leave a voicemail for Justin to be played on a future show, visit thebestknownchurchshow.com. And if you'd like to work with us so you can focus on your ministry, give us a call at 832-861-7654. Until next time, stay outrageous, unreasonable, and relentless.